He wasn't bitten this time, he was chosen. A dying celestial marked Peter Parker before vanishing. The mark made him unstoppable and unstable. Iron Man saw what he was becoming and made the call. He erased Peter's memory of the mark. But the body remembers what the mind forgets. Now the power is waking up again. And this time, not even Iron Man can shut it down. The explosion split the clouds over Queens. People thought it was thunder, a plane crash, maybe something alien. And for once they were right. Peter Parker was already swinging through Midtown when it hit. He wasn't chasing a criminal. He wasn't saving a life. He was just bored. And then the sky burned right behind him. The shockwave hit like a slap from the Hulk. He hit a wall, hard, barely webbed himself before hitting the street. Sirens were already screaming. But what made him swing toward the impact wasn't the chaos. It was the whisper. Something called him. Not through sound, through gravity. Buildings leaned toward it. Light bent around it. His spider sense wasn't screaming, it was singing. By the time he reached the center of the crater, the cops had barricaded half the block, but they hadn't moved in yet. The fire truck stalled. The NYPD helicopter circled, but didn't descend. Peter landed quietly behind a flipped car and crawled into the heart of it. What he saw wasn't a spaceship. It wasn't tech. It was a corpse, the size of a building, radiating gold and crimson light like a dying sun. The Celestial's body pulsed once, then stopped. And Peter, as if compelled, stepped closer. Its face was shattered, its arms severed, its chest cracked open. But in its last breath, it raised one broken finger and touched Peter. That was the moment the symbol burned itself into his chest. He didn't scream. He didn't move. He just saw. The universe opened up in flashes. Past, future, death, rebirth. A world where Earth was chosen, not for destruction, but for something far worse. Rebirth. He collapsed and woke up in a Stark lab. "Welcome back," Tony said, standing over him in a dark room lit by 1,000 orange holograms. "You touched a god, kid." Peter blinked. His suit was gone. His skin still burned under the hospital gown. He pulled it down slightly. The mark was still there, glowing faintly. "I didn't mean to," he muttered. Tony sighed. "Nobody means to. You think I planned to wear a nuke on my chest for most of my life?" Peter looked around. The others were there too. Strange, Bruce, even Captain Marvel hovered near the ceiling like a silent warning. Strange stepped forward first. "That mark isn't random. It's not a gift. It's a summons." "A what?" "You are now a beacon, a tether, a womb." Strange's face didn't shift. "The Celestial marked you for rebirth, and Earth is the delivery room." "Wait, like I'm pregnant with a planet?" "Worse," Tony muttered. "You're pregnant with a god." Peter stood, panicked. "Then get it out." Tony put a hand on his shoulder. "We tried. The mark is in your soul, not your skin. We can't cut it out." Strange added, "But we can do something else." Tony hesitated. "We can wipe your memory." Peter stared at them. "You're serious. You touched something your brain can't handle. We've seen what this does. Multiversal destabilization. Time fractures. Even now, your very presence is warping the laws of physics in a 3-mile radius. And erasing my memory fixes that?" Tony nodded slowly. "If you don't remember the mark, the signal might go dormant. At least long enough for us to find a better solution." Peter sat, silent. Strange lifted the device. It was shaped like a crown. Old, ancient, Stark tech fused with something darker. The runes on the edge pulsed like veins. Tony said, "I built it with Strange. Only works once. If we do this, you'll forget everything. The Celestial, the touch, the mark. You'll go back to being just Spider-Man." Peter looked up. "What happens if it doesn't work?" Tony hesitated. "Then we do something worse." Peter didn't ask what. He nodded. The crown lowered onto his head. Light flashed. A sound like glass breaking echoed through the lab. He fell and woke up in his apartment. No mark, no pain, no memory. Just Peter Parker. Homework on the desk. Text from MJ. Crime alerts pinging. Everything felt normal for exactly 3 weeks. Then it started again. A man stepped onto the subway platform and pulled out a pistol. Peter caught it before the guy even reached. Not because of spider sense, because he knew it was going to happen. 2 minutes later, a baby stroller rolled into traffic. He was already there. A bank alarm didn't even go off, and Peter stopped the robbery 5 minutes before the first cop arrived. It wasn't reflex anymore. It was prophecy. He saw time before it happened. And every time he acted, the mark glowed again, just faintly, under his skin. A soft pulse, like a heartbeat beneath the ribs. But he didn't know what it was. Until one day, while cleaning his web shooters, he noticed something strange in the fabric of his backup suit. A seam he didn't stitch. He cut it open. Inside was a chip. Start Tech. It auto-activated. A projection flickered into the air. A hologram of Tony Stark. If you're seeing this, you're remembering. Peter froze. Tony's voice continued. That means the mark is reawakening. That means you're no longer safe. That means we need to talk. Static. End of message. And behind Peter, in the reflection of the glass, he saw it. A glowing symbol on his chest. Bright, burning, alive. And something was whispering again. This time, it wasn't calling him. It was warning him. Because he wasn't the only one marked. And not all of them wanted to forget. Peter didn't sleep. The second the symbol reappeared, he stayed awake 3 nights straight, watching it pulse through his skin like a living tattoo. He wore shirts over it, taped paper over his chest. Nothing worked. Every time he looked away, it felt like it grew brighter. And the voice, it was no longer a whisper. It was a chorus, low, thunderous, like a dying star screaming backwards. He didn't understand the language. He didn't need to. Something was coming. Because of him, he needed Tony. Fast. But Tony was gone. Retired. Ghosted. No signals, no satellites, no suits in orbit. Not even Rhodey had a way in. Pepper refused to speak. Everyone gave the same answer. He's resting. Peter knew better. People like Tony don't rest. They hide. And they only hide when they've built something they're afraid of. That's when Peter noticed something strange in the streets. Patterns. He didn't need the police scanner anymore. The voices in his head pulled him where he needed to be. 10 seconds early, every time. Mugging, chase, robbery, fire, suicide attempt, bomb threat. Each one like clockwork. He wasn't Spider-Man anymore. He was something beyond the web. Time bent around him like it recognized him. But so did something else. The first attack happened while he was helping a trapped firefighter out of a collapsed building. It was subtle, just a flicker of movement. But it was too perfect. The attacker dropped out of the sky, like gravity skipped a beat. No sound, no heat signature, no warning, just motion. Peter caught the blade with his bare hand before it reached his spine. Sparks flew. Blood dripped. He spun, kicking the figure across the rubble, webbed the firefighter to safety, and flipped back into the smoke. The figure was already up. She looked young, but her eyes were ancient. Silver skin, tattoos that moved. A single glowing mark, not on her chest, but on her forehead. Different symbol, same energy. "You're one of us," she said. "I don't even know what that means." Her blade lit up, pure celestial energy, like a lightsaber crafted from dying stars. "I'm here to make sure you never find out." The fight was short, but devastating. She moved like time meant nothing to her. And every time she got close, Peter felt something inside him shake loose. Like the mark was waking up faster. He webbed her arm to a falling beam, tackled her through a window, and finally managed to pin her under a concrete slab. "Who are you?" She laughed through broken teeth. "Luma, third of the 6, slayer of the marked." Peter stepped back. "What is the marked?" She coughed blood. "You're not the host, Spider-Man. You're the door." And then she pressed her palm to her own chest. The mark on her head vanished. She smiled and disappeared. Peter was left holding a burning slab of air. He went home shaking. That night, his reflection didn't move with him. The mirror showed him in a suit, but with glowing white eyes. the kind he never had. And the reflection spoke. "You're opening. They can smell it." Then it shattered. He fell to the floor, gasping. That was when the second message from Tony auto-triggered. His watch blinked red. Hologram projected from the floor. Tony looked older in this one. Sweaty, face rough. Behind him, a dark room of swirling holographic galaxies. A map of stars and a web connecting them. If Peter had to guess, it looked like the multiverse was bleeding inward. Tony leaned in. "If you've reached this point, you're starting to remember. And they're going to find you." The other marked. The hunters. The seeds. He glanced off screen. "I tried to stop it. I really did." Another voice entered the frame. "Strange. This isn't about erasing his memory. It's about buying time." Tony nodded. "They weren't ready for what's inside you, kid. I saw it. I scanned you the moment you touched that thing. You weren't infected. You were rewritten. The Parker inside you is the shell now. The mark is running everything." Static burst. Then Strange's voice cut in. "If the mark reaches full alignment, he becomes the beacon. And the beacon brings the rebirth. One celestial dies, another awakens through him." Peter froze. Tony came back into frame. "If I'm gone, don't trust anyone. Not me. Not Strange. Not S.H.I.E.L.D. Especially not." Static again. Message ended. He stared at the spot where the hologram disappeared. He couldn't breathe. The mark on his chest was glowing again. And this time, it spread up his neck. Thin white lines, like roots under the skin, glowing, pulsing. He ripped his shirt open and covered the mirror. He didn't want to see it again. But that's when the apartment shook. The glass cracked, and something slammed into the wall behind him, hard enough to dent the steel beam under the bricks. Peter grabbed his mask, but before he could turn, the wall melted. Melted not from fire, but from existence. A square of reality just deleted, like a file erased from the universe. And stepping through it was Stark, but not in armor, not alive, not human. He was a projection, a hard light version of Tony built into a walking AI suit. Just eyes, no face, voice rough. "I told you not to remember." Peter raised his hands. "You're not him. I'm the part of him that was afraid of you." The suit flickered. The projection glitched. Peter backed up. "I need answers." "You don't need answers, kid. You need a cage." The AI flicked a switch. A containment sphere launched from its arm, gold and red and humming with arcane tech. Peter flipped out of the way, webbed the ceiling, launched himself behind the AI. But the sphere followed him like a guided missile. He barely escaped it. It grazed his leg, and time slowed around him for a full second. His skin began to phase. Reality bent. The mark blazed, and the suit staggered. The Tony AI collapsed to one knee. "Too late," it whispered. Peter stared down. "What did you do to me?" The AI stood. "I tried to protect the world from you. But now the beacon is waking." Peter felt it. His heartbeat wasn't his own. It was syncing with something else. He whispered, "What happens when it wakes up?" And behind him, the sky cracked open, a single bolt of light ripping from space into his bedroom window. Not lightning, a signal. And in every major observatory around the planet, the telescopes turned toward Queens, because Earth had just lit up like a flare in the center of the galaxy, and someone or something had finally noticed. The light in the sky didn't fade. It stayed, a beam of white piercing the clouds above Queens, humming with a sound no one could hear, but everyone could feel. Drones couldn't photograph it. Satellites glitched when they tried. The Avengers scrambled to contain panic, but it was too late. People weren't afraid of Peter Parker anymore. They were afraid of what was trying to find him. He ran, not because he was scared, but because he didn't trust himself anymore. Every mirror showed a different version of him. One had 6 eyes. One wore no mask. One bled stars from the mouth and spoke in riddles. He smashed them all, but they always returned. He ran to the sewers. He ran to the rooftops. He ran through memories that didn't belong to him. Wars on other planets, thrones of fire, spider children crawling from eggs buried in moons. None of it made sense. And then he felt it again. Her. Luma. She stepped from the dark like she'd been waiting behind reality itself. "You're bleeding into the timelines," she said coldly. "You weren't supposed to wake up this fast." Peter didn't attack. He didn't even flinch. "I don't want to be a beacon," he said. "I just want it gone." "You can't get rid of it," she replied. "The mark is your true name now." She tossed something to him. He caught it instinctively and froze. It was a mask, not his. It looked like his spider mask, but ancient, carved from stone, painted with blood, burned with the celestial symbol right between the eyes. "What's this?" "The last beacon," she said. "Before you." Peter looked down at it. It was cracked, but alive. He felt it hum. "Why are you helping me?" he asked. Luma didn't answer. Instead, she drew her blade again, this time slower, calmer. Peter tensed. "You're not here to help." "I am," she said. "By killing me." She nodded. "Better you die now than what comes next." He stood tall. "I'm not going down easy." She didn't expect him to. The fight was faster this time. Peter moved like time was just a suggestion. His feet never touched the same surface twice. His webs didn't stretch, they bent light. She struck, and he predicted her before her blade moved. His eyes flickered with white rings, and for a moment, he split. 3 versions of himself dodging the attack in perfect sync. But she was trained to hunt the impossible. She stabbed one. The other 2 flickered and remerged. Peter crashed into her with a force that cracked the rooftop in half. They tumbled through the air, landing in an abandoned warehouse. Metal groaned. Dust shook. Peter webbed her to a pillar, hard. "Tell me why the others didn't survive." Luma coughed. Her armor sparked. "They didn't fight the mark. They followed it." Peter's eyes narrowed. "You said there were 6 of us. How many are still alive?" 3. "And the other 2? She looked up. "Not on this planet." Before he could speak again, the walls exploded. A shockwave ripped through the building, and from the smoke, something floated in. Not walked, not flew, floated. A humanoid figure, tall, hollow-faced, cloaked in a red aura of decaying galaxies. No eyes, no mouth, just a shape burned into its forehead. A different mark. It pulsed like a countdown. Luma's face twisted in horror. A beacon eater. Peter had no time to ask. The creature spoke directly into his mind. "You have spoiled the nest. You will be unmade." It raised a hand, and the floor inverted. Reality twisted like paper. Peter fell upward into the concrete sky. He tried to web anything, but the webs turned to liquid. Gravity reversed. Time skipped. He saw himself die 1,000 ways in the blink of an eye, crushed, burned, erased, forgotten. None of it was real, but all of it hurt, until he screamed, not in fear, but in defiance. The mark on his chest blazed pure gold for the first time, and everything stopped. The sky unraveled. The beacon eater froze. Peter floated midair, glowing with radiant energy. Luma covered her face as the light burned her eyes. Peter spoke, but not with his voice. The Celestial spoke through him. "This host is claimed. This timeline is protected." The beacon eater hissed like metal under pressure and collapsed into itself, shrinking into a sphere no larger than a fist. It bounced once and vanished into the floor. Peter dropped to his knees. The glow faded. The mark dimmed. He breathed heavy. Luma stared at him for the first time, not as an enemy, but something else. Fear. Respect. "It's starting," she whispered. "The Celestial inside you just pushed back, but it won't be long before it wants out." Peter wiped the blood from his nose. "I don't care what it wants." "You should," she said, "because once it's born, you don't get to be you anymore." He stood. "We'll see." She hesitated, then tossed him a small chip, StarkTech. "What's this?" "Your next answer." Then she disappeared again. Peter inserted the chip into the projector back at his lab. The one Tony left behind. Another hologram played. This time, it wasn't Tony. It was Reed Richards, bruised, desperate, speaking fast. If you're seeing this, the beacon is active. Behind him, strange portals blinked open and closed like eyes blinking across realities. Peter, you're the last one. We tried to control the previous hosts. It never worked. The mark is older than this universe. Tony wanted to erase it. Strange wanted to dissect it. I wanted to understand it. He paused. I was wrong. You're not the door. You're the lock. The message glitched. Then cut. Peter stared at the empty air, fists clenched. The mark on his chest pulsed again, but now it wasn't alone. 2 more pulses answered from somewhere else on Earth. 2 more beacons. Still alive. Still waking up. And now, they knew he was awake too. The first pulse came from New York. The second from Wakanda. The third was off-grid, somewhere deep in the Siberian ice. No name. No signal. Just a raw burst of celestial heat strong enough to fry a satellite. 3 beacons. 1 Earth. And they'd all awakened. Peter didn't sleep. Again. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw it. Not a face. A shape. An outline of something that hadn't been born yet. Through him. And now he could feel the moving. The others. Drawn toward him like comets locked in gravity. He needed Stark. Not holograms. Not fail-safes. The real Tony. So he did what no one else could do. He followed the broken Stark satellites manually, traced the buried pulse signatures only a beacon could detect, and hacked into what was left of F-Dewi's dormant systems. Deep inside the Arctic, buried under 30 feet of metal, he found the dead shell of an Iron Man suit, guarding a vault. A vault that opened only for him. Inside, the real answer waited. Not Tony's body, not his mind, but his last weapon. The suit was black and gold. No helmet, just a chest plate with a glowing core shaped like a spider. A note burned into the wall behind it. Peter, if I ever stop trusting myself, this suit will know you better than I ever did. Use it when the sky turns white. The sky had already turned. He put the suit on. It didn't attach. It merged. It wrapped around his mark like it was built for it, sinking to his blood, his breath, his memories. Stark had built this for one reason, to lock down a god. The moment the suit activated, his mind went white. A pulse shot from his chest, not an invitation this time, but a warning. The others heard it, and they came fast. Wakanda responded first. Shuri called. She didn't waste words. You're not the only one with a mark. Peter nodded. You feel it too? I feel her. Then the signal dropped. 2 hours later, the mark pulsed again, but harder, faster, angrier. The beacon from Wakanda was moving north. So was the one from Siberia. All of them were converging on Peter. And Peter? He didn't run this time. He stood on top of the Empire State Building, chest glowing, city quiet, waiting. He didn't wait long. The sky tore open, just slightly, like a crack splitting a windshield. 2 streaks dropped through, one cloaked in fire, the other trailing mist and static. The second beacon hit the roof in front of him. Wolverine, but not the one Peter remembered. His claws weren't adamantium anymore. They were molten. His eyes flickered white. The mark was burned into his back like a brand. He didn't speak. He just growled. Peter held his ground. I don't want this fight. Wolverine answered without words. He lunged, and the rooftop exploded into light. The rooftop lit up with fire and gold. Wolverine struck first, claws glowing with molten heat, faster than anything Peter had faced since Thanos. But Peter wasn't the same Spider-Man anymore. He didn't dodge, he predicted. His new suit moved before he thought. He caught Logan midair, spun, and slammed him through 3 floors of steel and glass. But Logan rose instantly. He didn't bleed. His wounds glowed white, healing through celestial fire. Peter didn't want to kill him. He also didn't want to die. The second beacon from the sky descended behind them. A woman, cloaked, silent. Her mark pulsed on her palm, a symbol Peter had seen once before in the corpse of the Celestial that touched him. She wasn't there to fight. She was there to activate. Wolverine roared, but it wasn't just rage. It was pain. His body convulsed. Light poured from his mouth, eyes, chest. The mark overtook him. He wasn't a person anymore. He was a vessel cracking open. Peter screamed his name, but it wasn't Logan who responded. It was the voice, the Celestial's voice. The beacon is lit. The vessel must open. Peter felt it happen inside himself too. His pulse disappeared. His thoughts fractured. His mark was sinking with Logan's, and something beneath New York began to move. The earth quaked. Buildings shook. From miles below, a vibration rang up through the city like a bell struck by a god. Stark's suit, the one Peter now wore, activated its failsafe. Containment field, online. Energy sync detected. Celestial fusion at 47%. Warning. Host integration imminent. Peter didn't ask for permission. He overrode the system. He launched toward Logan, dodging flaming claws, webbing his arms to the collapsing tower edge. He looked in his eyes, and for 1 second, Logan was still in there. Fight it. Logan shook. He snarled. He whispered, "Kill me." Peter froze. "I can't." "You have to." Before it's born. The woman raised her hand. The marks synced. A white flare engulfed them both. And then it stopped. Silence. Time paused. Peter stood in pure, white nothingness. No buildings. No sound. No pain. Just him and the Celestial. It was enormous. Infinite. Not a being, a concept given shape. And it spoke. "You were never a host. You were always the gate." Peter clenched his fists. "I never asked for this. You were chosen." "I don't care." "Then be unmade." Peter screamed and unleashed everything. Not just power, choice. The Stark suit locked onto the mark. The nanotech wrapped around his chest. The AI shouted warnings. Shields cracked. Energy surged. Peter didn't listen. He reached inside himself, past the pain, past the prophecy, to the one thing the Celestial never understood: free will. He chose to end it, not to erase the mark, but to burn it out. The white space exploded. Back in the real world, the sky turned red, then black, then quiet. Logan collapsed. The woman vanished, vaporized by the burst. Peter hit the ground, suit in tatters. No light, no mark, just breath. He wasn't a god. He wasn't a beacon. He was Peter Parker. Again, he laughed once, then passed out. When he woke, he was in Stark's lab. A message blinked on the screen. Tony's voice. "Kid, if you're seeing this, it means you did what none of us could. You made your own choice. You stopped fate. I always knew you had it in you." Peter stared at the screen. No mark. No visions. Just silence. But somewhere deep in the stars, a single dot of white light blinked. Waiting. Because beacons don't end. They evolve. And Earth had just told the galaxy. Not yet.